Hi, so welcome to our session today, all about the SWAN principle. So the SWAN principle was put together by Swami Niranjan of the Bihar School of Yoga, and it basically came from the SWOT, which you might have heard, which is used often for business management. But this is like the yogic version of management for yourself. So basically, when we do a SWAN practice, we're looking at the way that we're living, the way that we're thinking, and starting to understand a little bit more about ourselves. So here you can see on this PowerPoint, looking at our experiences, learning how to manage our mind, and preparing ourselves for transformation. And definitely the SWAN practice gives us direction, or helps us to understand the direction we need to take in our life. So you're going to be making an assignment this week all about the SWAN. Basically, you're going to do a SWAN of your life as a whole. You can do a SWAN of different aspects of your life. Like you might decide that you want to do a SWAN on your relationships, or maybe a SWAN on your work situation, or you might even want to do a SWAN on your yoga practice. But it's always good to start with an overall look at your life as a whole. So the SWAN principle is basically SWAN. So S means strengths, it represents strengths. W represents weaknesses. A represents ambitions, and N for needs. So we'll look into detail about each aspect of the. So looking at strengths. So we all have strengths within us, and basically you have to get your piece of paper and write down what your strengths are. Okay, so there are some strengths that are there within us since all our life. Okay, and there are strengths that have come over our life experience. So these might be different qualities we have, certain skills that we've learnt, talents that might have been natural or may have been acquired in our life. And of course, there are also certain characteristics or traits that have helped us in our life. Okay, so here you can see aspects of our personality that can be applied positively and constructively in our life. So here, example is courage, persistence, possibly physical strength, having a caring nature, knowing particular kinds of knowledge, and patience. And we can divide these strengths into different categories. So example, a physical strength, I have very strong digestion. A mental strength, I am very good at controlling my anger, keeping a level head when, problems arise. Or looking professionally, so I have a very good strength of managing people or managing events. Or socially, I may make friends very easily. So those are different kinds of strengths that we may have. And of course, there are other strengths too. Maybe knowledge of a certain subject, that I might have studied for many, many years, like yoga. So many different strengths are there. And these are our best qualities within us. As I've mentioned before, they can be the qualities that we're born with or that we have acquired in our lifetime. Some of us may be born with really strong willpower or a lot of determination, like we can just get through anything. So these are all really good strengths that we can write down. And the last point here is it's not a time for false modesty. So some of us can be really shy about writing down what our strengths are. So be honest with yourself, be clear with yourself, and make sure that you write lots and lots of strengths. And what is important here is you're going to be writing down your weaknesses too. So some people, they can write a lot of strengths and hardly any weaknesses. Others will write a lot of weaknesses and not a lot of strengths. So you want to make sure that you have around about the same amount of each of them. Okay. So a few more questions that we can ask ourselves when we're writing down these strengths is, how do I know I have these strengths? What strengths are part of my genetic makeup, are hereditary, and can be used as a foundation for my personality? What strengths are real and what ones do I just wish that I had? Okay, so that's where you really do have to be very honest with yourself. And actually, it can be quite hard to really think about what those strengths are. And I've known many people feel comfortable to discuss it with others because often those that are close to us, they can see our strengths very easily, but we can't always see our own. So what strengths do I want to develop within myself? What strengths do I want to use to overcome my weaknesses? And that is one of the really helpful practices that we use with this SWAN principle. So overcoming our weakness through the use of our strength that we have. And what strengths can support and embrace my ambitions? Okay, so that will give you a little bit of an idea of what kind of strengths you want to be writing down or thinking about what yours are. Now let's look at weaknesses. So those are the attributes or defects of our character that are basically pulling us down. Okay, so I mentioned about, our friends and family that can see our strengths within us. So for some people who can't see their weaknesses, they might need to talk to their friends or family and they'll get the honest truth from them. Of course, there are also other people who find it very easy to write down what their weaknesses are. But again, we need to be balanced within our strengths and weaknesses. So here's an example: laziness, procrastination, anger, jealousy, hatred, possessiveness, greediness. Okay, so not allowing the weaknesses to outnumber your strengths. Okay, again, they can be physical. So example, a physical weakness. I have a tendency towards getting colds or lower immunity. Or a mental weakness. I have anxiety. Or it might be professional, that I find it very hard to work with other people. And that might also be fitting into the social aspect too. Maybe I'm very shy. So this is also a weakness that is pulling me down. And that shyness has also created low confidence in me. So we also need to look at what limitations we have, okay, and what things we can't change. Example, if I have a physical problem, maybe I've had a spinal injury and I can't walk, and I'm in a wheelchair, so I have to accept that that is one of my limitations, and I can't really improve on that as such. Okay, so certain things may be there. Of course, lots of different weaknesses can be improved on, but we need to be able to categorize what ones they are. Then limitations of character, which may be improved with our efforts over a period of time. So example, someone who's feeling very, very insecure, they can slowly build up their confidence over a period of time. And also understanding what our potential is. Okay, often we don't see those strengths within us, we see those weaknesses. So this SWAN is going to help you to understand all those positives within you and how to direct your life in the best possible way. So a few more questions about weaknesses. So what weaknesses can I turn into strengths or use in a positive way? So for example, if I'm very stubborn, I could see that as being persistent. Okay. Or I could see that because of that persistence, I can focus more and more in a positive way towards my work situation. Because even though the obstacles come up all the time, I still keep going. What strengths can I use to overcome a very particular weakness? Okay. And can I accept that my weaknesses are okay? Because we all have weaknesses. We can always work on them, but we still need to accept what is there. Let's look at ambitions. So the ambitions are the things that we feel deep inside us, the strong urges to achieve in life. They may be the focus of our life. They may be the driving force for achievement in our life. So they're the things that we feel that we really need to do to give us satisfaction and to give us fulfillment. Here I write, the strength of the survival instinct can create powerful ambitions in life. And our ambitions can be because of fears or desires or power, but they can also be for us to develop our full potential. You'll see the next point, they might be complete fantasy. They may not have any kind of reality in them at all. They may just be the influences or from the conditionings that we have. So it's really important to understand what is the reality, what is actually possible, and what is just, in our imagination. So we can again categorize these ambitions into, physical ambitions. So example, I want to have a really strong, healthy body. Or mentally, I want to have a well-balanced mind. Professionally, I want to be very successful and fulfilled in my work. And socially, I want to have good, strong relationships and friendships. And I might have other ambitions. For example, something I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar. Okay? Or I've always wanted to learn how to learn the language, the Thai language. Okay? So those are things that we feel within us that are very strong inside. And ambitions, they can be based, as I'd mentioned before, they can be based on fears, desires, power, fantasy, or just those strong urges that we have within us. And of course, here's some questions for us to also look at. What are the important ambitions? So differentiating between what are desires and what are ambitions. Okay. And again, differentiating between what are our ambitions and what are our needs. So what is essential for us and what is something that we would like to have. Which ambitions are practical and achievable? Which ones are unrealistic? Okay, so those that are unrealistic, we need to get rid of them. Look at your ambitions. Are they suitable? Are they appropriate for you? Okay, where are they originating from? Okay, those ambitions that feel really, really intense, you should keep them. Even if you don't really know if they're realistic, like maybe it's a little bit out there, but you have such a strong feeling for that, then you should keep it with you. Which ambitions are expectations of family or society? And this is a really common one, especially for those in a yogic path, because many people in the yogic path, they're going more simpler path. They're not so interested in money, material possessions, all this kind of thing. But the expectations of society are always there. Oh, you need to have a house. Oh, you need to have a car. It should be a good car. You should have a good job. You need to earn this amount of money. Oh, and you need to settle down. You need to have a partner. You need to have kids. So all these expectations can be put onto us. So we need to think, is it what I want or is this what somebody else wants? And can I recognize the ambitions that are part of my karma? Okay, so something that is very strong within us that we need to look into. And do the ambitions change according to age and circumstance? I'm sure if you compare what was your ambition when you were 7 or 8 years old, maybe you wanted to be a firefighter or a doctor or work in a zoo. So this is going to be changing, quite a lot before we get to adulthood. And this last point, when we become familiar with our ambitions, we begin to have an understanding of our dharma. So that is our duty in life. Okay. And this is necessary in order to perceive the role we are assigned. Or you can say the role that we have to play in this life. So that's a little bit about our. And then the last one is the needs. So what physiological needs do we have? What about our need for survival and security? Okay, most of us also have a need to belong. We have a need to be loved. Okay, some of us also have that need to fulfill our highest potential. So your list should be all about discovering what are the essential needs in your life. They should be realistic, they should be attainable. Again, looking at the yogic view of being simple as well, like, do I need to have this massive house and this massive car to make myself feel fulfilled? So that's also something to consider. Again, there are going to be those different categories. So example, physical needs. I need regular sleep. Okay. Mentally, maybe I need silence. I need quiet time every day. That is essential for me. I know that if I don't have that little bit of silent time, things are disturbed. If I look professionally, maybe I need to have a job that is going to be paying me enough that I can cover my expenses, my food or my rent or whatever it is that I need to pay for. And then looking socially, do I need to have that comfort of others? Okay, that need to be loved. Do I need it from many? Do I need it from one? So those are things that we need to think about. And also, there's going to be other needs that we might feel are essential in our life. For example, connection to nature. Now, for me personally, that is something that is really essential for me. If I can't see a tree, if I can't walk on the earth, I feel bad. I don't feel connected anymore. So it's very essential for me to have that, as I'm sure many others would have similar kinds of needs. So think about what those essential questions that we can look at. Differentiate between your needs and wants. Okay, so eliminating whatever you can just to make your life simpler. Okay, differentiating between what are your needs and what are your ambitions. Okay, putting the needs that are really ambitions into the ambition section. What are my real needs and what are concepts that are expectations of others? Like I was talking about those conditionings that are put upon us from society or from our parents or others around. So what is really essential for me when I really look into it deeply? How can I provide for specific needs so they don't dominate my life? So that's where we might want to look at living more simply. And there are some needs which we must hang on to in order to nurture ourselves. And as we work on them more, they will become less, but we can't just throw them out. Okay, so example, the ideal is that we don't need the support of others. Okay, Swami Satyananda, he always used to tell a story which was about when he came to Australia, and there was lots of interviews with him, and this was in the 70s, and they were asking questions, what can you do? You're this famous yogi. Can you walk on water? Can you levitate? Can you disappear? All these crazy siddhis. And he said, no, I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. And they said, well, what can you do? And he said, I can stand on my own 2 feet, meaning I can stand on my feet without depending on anyone else, without any crutches, independently. So that is something that we want to aim for. But for most of us, we're not ready yet to be able to leave everybody behind. So that is also something we need to look at. And we shouldn't push ourselves and throw things out in that forcible way. So looking at our SWAN assignment, so you're going to get your piece of paper, you're going to write down what your strengths are, weaknesses, ambitions, and needs, and making sure that you have the same amount of strengths and weaknesses. And you're going to look at it as a whole and think about what is one weakness that you want to start working on. And look at those strengths, that list of strengths that you have, and think about if any of those strengths will help you to overcome that weakness. Okay, but just for now, writing all these things down is really going to make things a lot clearer for you in your mind and start to help you understand what kind of direction you want to take, what you feel is essential for your life, and what you can lose. Okay, so there will also be another document for you to read a little bit more about the SWAN and some more questions that you can be asking yourself. Hurry on.